know how you, in sort of using a probability analysis or a mathematical modeling exercise, at what point you have all these inputs, something's going to swamp the system in terms of the magnitude of the effect that it has. But you're going to see it in different ways. So what are you measuring? Are you measuring, what's the response variable that you're trying to look at? It's very hard to pick that out, and I agree with you. It's sort of a wild card in the whole exercise. You might see it in changes in distribution, which is what we're looking at, but maybe you'll see it in a maybe you'll just start seeing it in those traditional measures of the colony. Population decline, poor juvenile recruitment. There's so many things that you could be, so I think my feeling is that sort of quantify what we can get at and add other things as we learn more about them. I don't know, that's probably not very scientific, but you're right, and I'm not trying to dismiss the issue of climate change. So I don't know if anyone has clever ideas about how to incorporate that.
Well, I mean, there's methodology through fatty acids to know what the seabirds are eating.
Yep.
And I mean, the critical question already we know the mix of the zooplankton and phytoplankton is changing. There's some nice work on BBC showing that, and the tropical ones are moving farther north, the northern ones are moving farther north. And the seabird's success or not will be dependent on how adaptive they are. There's going to be small fish move in. If the Cape Linden and silverside move out, the small fish move in. Are the gannet, which species are going to learn to eat the other fish and which are not? And I mean, I think by looking at the diet, we can see which ones are changing their diet over time and which ones aren't.
I mean, I think it has to be a well-planned research program with multiple entry points into the question. And it depends at what level you're scaling it. If you're looking at a huge scale, you're less likely to be able to drive down into those details. If you're looking at a single colony, maybe you have the opportunity to get into that in greater detail, but then can you scale that inference up to? It's very challenging. Yeah.
Any other questions for Laura? John?
I think, Bill Murray, the diet stuff you presented was quite interesting. If I understood it properly, following along what was just said, they seem to be, what's the word, Catholic in their trophic selection more than Murres, Tom Murres are. Now maybe that's my misreading of what was there, but they're amazing in a lot of ways from what I was just seeing there. But so, like, unfortunately with climate change, barring some radical thing, we're more observers and recorders than we're doing anything, or ever going to be able to do anything about these temperature changes already with regard to lobster and some of these other fish. But it just seems to me that the ones that are going to survive, for whatever that's worth, are going to be the ones that can adapt to feeding on other things. They're going to have to feed on tropical fish, well, without getting too extreme of the example.
Yeah, you're right. And for a while, when studying those three common mer colonies, I've just been like, whoa, these guys are just so boring. They're just doing the same thing and eating the same stuff. But that's the flip side of being boring is that's concerning. They seem very constrained in their habits. So watch out what's happening with Murres. You guys know about the junk food hypothesis. Some of you might. There's some work coming out of the UK on, I think it's kittiwake switching. They're able to find food. The temperatures are changing. They have all these different fish in the system. So the kittiwakes are finding all the fish, but the fish have very low quality, and they're getting piles of them, but they're just not surviving. So this is what's termed they're just eating junk food, even though they can find it. So it might not be abundance, might not be presence of fish, but even just the quality of the fish that they're adapted to forage on. Yeah, it's a huge thing. So, I mean, without meaning to, as a seabird biologist, you get sucked into figuring, learning all about fish. But it's so important, and it's we tend to try and bin things when I'm studying this, but we all know in an ecosystem, it's all, you can't change, one thing can't change without a whole cascade of things, so it's interesting to find out what you can, but don't assume that that's the whole story.
I also have a question about diet.
Yes.
How often have you eaten myrrh?
One. And a puffin. One.
Per, I should say.
Yeah. There's sort of like a cross between a fish and, the texture of liver, sort of a really dense and slightly grainy texture. Murres are sort of like fishy liver. I don't know if you like that kind of thing.
Oh, I've eaten.
Yeah, you have, okay. All right.
All right.
I would say repulsive, pretty well done.
Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure to talk to you and then also talk about my old friend, my thesis. So next time I'll come and tell you all about what Bird Studies Canada is doing outside of the seabird stuff, so I can come back and do that.
Good.
Yeah.
How about a warm thank you? For the last 3 years, we've gotten all caps, as you know, and this is the 2016 model.
Oh, thank you.
This is going to let you creep up on those.
I know, it's perfect color for a seabird colony. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I like it. Thank you. So now just shake your hand. Thank you.
Join us for coffee and juice, certainly, and there's something else. Oh, just in case you didn't know, we recorded this one tonight. It's our first stab at it. We're going to try to put that on the website for people that aren't able to make it to the meetings. We have quite a number of people that are housebound and that would love to come to these meetings, so we're going to try to get that going on the website. It's not to discourage you from coming out, please. Don't stay home. Come out. There's food. Anyway, please join us for the other thing about the museum is that next meeting we'll have this room. They're putting new ductwork in. There's no spotlights here, as you've noticed. It's one beam now, so it's a little bit less enjoyable, I think. But we are going to have, once they get this all done, but I think today's the first day that we've had this open on this side of the museum. So anyway, all good. Thank you again, Laura.